What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another solo leveling Arise video. Alright guys, we've been live for a couple hours, like four or 5 hours now. We finished the testing for AKARI. I want to just point out a few different things. I know some people jumping on here saying, hey Payne, some of this testing is off, it's wrong. Listen, this is initial testing. There's always going to be more testing as it happens. For some odd reason, Meilin got brought up when she was first introduced, and people were like, Payne, you were wrong about her. You said she was mid. I'm going to be real with you guys. I never said Meilin was mid. Here's when Meilin first came out. This is where she was on the tier list. She was a godly unit. She was a godly unit. The only reason why she ever lost to Alicia and Cha at the time was she didn't have Hansimi. Before Hansimi was around, Meilin was not as good. She was amazing, but she was still not. She was not as good. At that time as well too. Alicia was still conquering because of WOBL and Vulcan, and she had just been introduced with Meilin. So Meilin was always, in my opinion, considered godly. I've never once actually put her below that. If you guys look here, even though this is when Gina came out, when Hansimi is around, she was still top tier unit, always. Always. Gun, he just had a little bit more to give to us because he was brand new when he was making guild runs a lot better, especially for free-to-play players. So I'm not sure where all this hate's coming from and where all this nonsense is coming from, but I do want to bring up a certain point, and that is how much better Meilin became with Hansimi, and I want to talk about AKARI for a couple seconds, because I think it's a little bit important. So for those people who regret pulling for her, I do want to mention a couple things. Number one, you guys do realize there are going to be misses and there's going to be hits, right? So for example, prime example of a miss was Gina. When Gina came out, she looked great on paper. Her animations looked amazing. We just had no other content to use her for, right? So people who pulled for Gina were disappointed because there's really nothing big for Gina to be good at, right? Outside of, you know, a couple WOBL runs, guild boss runs, etc. She really didn't bring too much to the table compared to what we were very, very blessed with, which was Min and Meilin. Min and Meilin became the universal units that pretty much as a support could cover all grounds. We're talking about every single unit, every single mode. They were always shine, right? Meilin and Min, I think, really set the standard so damn high that now when a support unit comes out, we have the expectations that those support units are going to be able to do just as much as those two. Those are legacy units, right? I'm going to call them legacy units, Min specifically. So Meilin and Min are special in that regard, that they've kind of set the standard so high. And what I think Netmarble's doing now, the devs are doing, is they're kind of taking that away, that whole universal approach away, and are building it around specific synergies and teams. All right, so right now, as I mentioned, AKARI is a good unit still. She still makes Thomas better, right? She still makes Thomas better. She still makes Gun He better, but she's not a necessity. This also was the case with a lot of other units in the past, where a support unit would come up, for example, like Gina, right? As mentioned, she was decent, but she wasn't a must-have. But what I can't predict for a lot of people, and this is what people are misunderstanding, is I don't know what the future holds, right? I can only give you the now. So in the now, yes, she will boost your Thomas's damage. There's no doubt about it. She works as intended. She's definitely going to make Thomas and Gun He hits harder. She's built for that, but she's not a universal support like Min. She's not going to make everyone else better. You know what I mean? She might make Cha better, obviously, as well too, right? But with Min and their weapon, and then like Meilin and their weapons also come into play quite a bit here. So it's really, really hard, guys, for me to say don't pull on this unit because, you know, she's useless forever. That might not be the case. The 3-man synergy, when it comes down to the following WOBL with Damios or whatever the fuck his name is, might require her. We don't know, right? Now, Netmarble has gone on record and said they are no longer going to be making gimmick fights that requires you to have a specific unit. So I'm comfortable in saying that there isn't something in her kit that is going to make her a requirement, right? Meilin, for example, for Vulcan was a requirement because she removed the shield. They say they're no longer doing that purposely. So when it comes down to it, yes, this is initial testing. So the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to remember 5 hours of testing on a brand new unit is technically not a lot of testing, but it does give us good groundwork to understand if the unit's OP right away or not, because it's very easy to tell. For example, when we tested Thomas, we instantly knew. It didn't even take 5 hours. I could have taken 2 hours and I would have told you guys this is the best unit in the game, right? When we tested Gun He, it was a lot different, right? Because we didn't realize how much more damage increase his weapon provided to units like Cha, right? So that's an example of a gray area that we had to study more, and then we're like, oh shit, look at this, he's doing way more than we expected, especially in specific modes, and we then realized Gun He was better. So that's an example of a unit that looked shit on paper but performed extremely well after a week or two of testing. So it does take time, and this is going back to now support units, right? Back to the conversation of support units. Gun He technically is a support unit for light teams. When I did my testing today, we found that Gun He definitely could not keep up with AKARI's support. because at the end of the day, he's a breaker with support skills, right? And damage. AKARI is a full-on support. She has almost no damage to her name, but she is 100% built to be a support unit. So, are you wrong for pulling for her? I'll be honest, it's too soon to tell, right? My recommendation here is don't pull yet and just let it sit for a bit, because there's no rush, right? At the end of the day, we're not rushing to pull these units. Like, I've got 21 tickets here. I haven't even bothered pulling for her yet on my free-to-play, because at the end of the day, I don't know. I need to see more testing. And not to mention, I have peers who do testing as well, not just myself, but I trust my own results. Although I have some haters, obviously they're going to hate me for the rest of my career at content creating. It is what it is. That's part of the gimmick, part of the show. It happens. I'm going to always get people who hate on me and people who love me. Right? At the end of the day, I'm happy that I've been able to save a lot of people tickets. We need to test more. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. There isn't a button I can press here that gives me the future and let me know whether she's going to be a necessity. Again, Gina's a prime example of that, of a unit who was built really, really well, and just we had no content for her, right? So at the end of the day, guys, you have to understand it's right now as she stands, yes, she will boost your overall light damage 100%. There is no doubt about it. The testing shows that, right? Is she a must? No. I mean, you're min-maxing. If you're min-maxing for guild bosses, then that's great. I mean, like, you can definitely use her for guild bosses. And it will definitely raise your damage. Is she going to make a massive, massive difference in guild boss? From some of the testing we've seen, some people are seeing no results, some people are seeing some results. So we're still waiting. We're still waiting for that, right? You guys have to give a little bit more time. So don't, but I can comfortably say this, that in a 3-man team, let's say WOBL is in fact going to be light damage, she will have a place on that team, especially if you don't have a good min, or if you don't have, another really good support like Meilin. But if it is light elemental damage, weakness only, she will have a better stake at that WOBL than someone like Meilin, most likely. Most likely, again, right? And again, it depends where your Meilin is at and stuff. So just keep that in mind. I know a lot of people are very upset about the way she came out, and this is kind of the reason why we ask people not to pull right away. Like, I do A10 as a content creator because I can. That's just the reality of it, right? I can, and I get paid. I get paid for it. You guys watch me, you support me, and I let you know where the sweet spot is for her. A1, A3 at the moment. That's realistically for free-to-play players where you want to be. But there's no way for me to be able to unfortunately tell in 5 hours if this unit is going to be a long stay or not. I can give you a general sense of it, for sure, but I can't give you a 100% guarantee that she'll be worthwhile in the future, or if she's going to be worthwhile, in the next month or so even. Because again, I'm not sure what's coming out in the next month. I have no idea what the devs are planning to do, and I can't predict that, because if I start predicting shit like that, then I'm giving you false information that I don't have. So my personal opinion, my testing was fine. It showed that Min could keep up with her in guild battles, but she does in fact have an impact on light units like Thomas, who currently is the best unit in the game. He's obviously a light unit, so he is going to definitely be impacted by having her on the team in a positive manner. How much is that impact? That's yet to be seen. We noticed that it's right now with my testing, it's very similar to having Meilin on the same team as it is to have Min on the same team. Min a little bit less, Meilin definitely more, right? But does that mean that in the future she won't have a bigger impact? No, obviously not. I mean, she could definitely have a bigger impact in the future. So for those people who are saying that, my testing's inaccurate, or I talk shit about Mirai back in the day. Listen, Mirai didn't have Hansi Mi. You can't sit here and tell me that Mirai didn't become the best unit after Hansi Mi came out and gave her that MP recovery and also gave her that extra wind damage. That's why Meilin had such a big impact on Alicia. That's why Alicia at the time was the best unit, because she had the Meilin on her side. Supports play a massive role to their counterparts, and this is where the problem stems. Gina's a bad example only because we know that Gina doesn't have a strong fire support to really, or fire DPS to really help her look better, but we definitely have Thomas. So AKARI could in fact be Thomas's most important piece of the puzzle in the future. Just right now, she definitely is improving his damage. It's just not leaps and bounds like most people want. All right, I just want to make that clear on AKARI. I know a lot of people seem lost about her. Yeah, she may be mid. She may be mid. At the end of the day, guys, she may be mid. But is she going to impact light? Absolutely. Absolutely. So I don't think it's a point of like you should be disappointed that you pulled, or you should want to quit if you pulled. I think she's a unit that may have a slow burn and get better as time goes on, or she may stay mid forever. And it is what it is. You got yourself a unit that they may buff in the future, and you may actually get better utility out of. Anyways, I want to just cover that real quick because I know a lot of people were worried about getting her. But I think it's important to talk about this because support units play such a pivotal role in every single unit DPS that comes out. And she is technically built for Thomas. At the end of the day, she is built for Thomas, and you can see how she is. I just think they need to do a little bit of buffing, or we need to do a little bit more tweaking on our testing. Overall, though, she's a mid unit for now. She may be an OP unit later on, right? And that's time's going to tell for now. But I can only give you what I have now. And if you guys had different results, let me know. Just don't come in with crazy ass comments and hate saying that I called Meilin mid back in the day and stuff. Every tier list you look at, she was top tier. Every single tier list. At the time, though, we didn't have things to test on it. Like, we didn't have Guild Boss to see damage numbers. We didn't have NC Me kicking around. The moment they came out, she still stayed top tier. She just moved up the ranks. Even she moved past Alicia and Cha at the time. And that's where it started to be noticeable that how big Mirei's contribution as a DPS, as the best DPS in the game, was notable. Now it's just Thomas. And again, that's part of testing. Things evolve. Things change. Supports make people better. And that's how this game is played. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching. More content to come. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.